Questions orales, oral questions. The honourable member for Portage-Lisgar.
Madam Speaker, over the weekend, Canadians saw news of countries like the US, the UK, and Australia outlining detailed plans for vaccinating their citizens, including dry runs, with many of them starting to vaccinate in the next few days. Meanwhile, back in Canada, it's continued confusion, inconsistency, and deflection. Today, the possibility of 125,000 vaccinations was announced. But, Madam Speaker, the fact is there are almost 2 million Canadians over the age of 80 alone. So that is not enough. When will this government end the uncertainty, give Canadians the hope they desperately need, and tell us when every Canadian who wants the vaccine will get it?
The Honourable Minister for Public Services and Procurement.
Madam Speaker, today is a great day for Canada and for Canadians. Today is a day when we can assure Canadians that we will have early doses of the Pfizer vaccine in this country, and millions of other vaccine doses are going to roll out in this country over the weeks and months to come, pending Health Canada approval. Madam Speaker, what a wonderful day for Canada. The light at the end of the tunnel is clear.
The honourable member for Portage-Lisgar. For Calgary Nose Hill.
Madam Speaker, last week we found out that the entirety of the American population is scheduled to be vaccinated by June. By the end of December, that number is about 10%. And today we found out that the number in Canada is 0.003%. Last week, the Prime Minister said that it didn't matter the start, it managed the finish, and now we're getting this very dismal news for Canadians. So my question to the Minister of Procurement is, did the Prime Minister instruct her to negotiate the small dose amount to deflect from the fact we have no date on when Canadians will be vaccinated?
The Honourable Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
I thank the honourable member for the question, Madam Speaker. On the contrary, we have the largest portfolio of vaccines in the world, the most number of doses per capita in the world. And what today signifies is that the arrival of those doses, millions of doses, Madam Speaker, is going to begin this month and continue in waves throughout 2021 so that all Canadians will have access to a vaccine when it is approved by Health Canada. Thank you, Mrs. Speaker.
The honourable member for Calgary Nose Hill.
The reality is our neighbours to the south have certainty and hope for when they can reopen their businesses, see their family members. May or June, that's when a vaccine will be available to every American. We don't have that information here in Canada. We don't have that certainty. What we have is 0.003%. That's ridiculous. We're a G7 country. When is every Canadian going to have access to the vaccine? And it will be at the same time as the Americans.
The Honourable Minister.
Madam Speaker, as I said, Canadians have access to the most diverse portfolio of vaccines in the entire world, Madam Speaker, and those vaccines are going to roll out to Canadians beginning this month and continuing into 2021. That's assurance, Madam Speaker. That is a good news story for Canadians, and I am so proud to be part of a government that has allowed and enabled this to occur. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In March at Ag Committee, the Minister suggested that farmers' carbon tax payments are less than 1% of their expenditures. But obviously that's not the case. It's far more than that. The Parliamentary Budget Officer released a report showing that farmers will pay $226 million over the next 4 fiscal years for using propane and natural gas on their farms. Will the Minister admit her mistake and ask the government to extend the on-farm carbon tax exemption for natural gas and propane?
The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'd like to reassure my colleague that we are very much aware of our producers' needs, and we've also made very significant commitments. When we talk about the price on pollution, we have provided exemptions for fuel on the farms, for example, for greenhouses, and we are monitoring the file very closely in conjunction with our colleagues from the Department of the Environment.
Madam Speaker, make no mistake, extending the carbon tax exemption to propane and natural gas could make a real difference on Canadian farms and across Canada. Propane and natural gas are used to not only heat barns, but there is no other option for grain drying. So why are the minister and her cabinet colleagues dragging their feet to make a small change that could make such a big difference for Canadian farms?
Yes.
The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Policy is designed to grow a clean economy. To support this sector, we have put in place the following measures. Emissions from livestock and crop production are not priced. Farm fuels and fuels from cardlock facilities are exempt. And there is a partial rebate for propane and natural gas used in commercial greenhouses. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
Madam Speaker, last month, the respected former Supreme Court Justice Bastarash reported on sexual harassment in the RCMP. It's serious and urgent and requires immediate action from the public safety minister. But the justice says, quote, I haven't heard anything from him, and quote, there should be a stronger reaction. The scale is huge. Over 600 interviews in 4 years and 2,300 victims of various criminal acts. The report makes 52 recommendations. Does the minister think that it at least deserves a real response and action from him?
Minister of Public Services, of Public Safety and Emergency Preparedness.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, first of all, I appreciate the importance of the question because the behaviours that were outlined in Justice Bastarash's report are deeply concerning and completely unacceptable. We know that for far too long, women in the RCMP and members of the LGBTQ community have experienced unacceptable workplace harassment. These issues are long-standing. They need to change, and that is precisely why, Madam Speaker, the government has explicitly mandated the Commissioner of the RCMP to ensure that all employees are protected from this type of harassment and violence. We've spoken to the Commissioner. We remain committed to responding appropriately to Justice Bastarash's report.
The honourable member for Lakeland.
This is the minister's job, and that was not an answer. But the Liberals always blame everyone else, except they've been in power for half a decade and as majorities for 18 of the last 30 years. The justice says he has spoken to the commissioner, and she's working on it. And he said if the minister actually, quote, read the report, he'd know what needs to be done and take action. What's worse, the report is the 16th of its kind. Victims deserve answers. Will the minister tell the more than 2,000 victims which recommendations will be implemented and when, or like all victims always, will they have to fight the Liberals to get results?
Minister.
Madam Speaker, quite the contrary to what has been asserted by the member opposite. We are absolutely committed to ensuring a workplace free of violence, harassment, and discrimination against all members of the RCMP, and in fact, in all government workplaces. We're doing this work with the RCMP to take this, and we take this responsibility very seriously. We recognize that the recommendations of Justice Bastarash provide an excellent guide to a way forward, and the Commissioner of the RCMP has assured me of her commitment to implement all of his recommendations.